Hey, farts. Hi, friends. My name's Aaron Ciotti. Everybody calls me Ciotti, especially when I forget to turn the lights on. Welcome to Whoop Wednesday. We're going to be talking about these brand new... Where is it? Where is it? Here it is. These brand new Axis 1404.5 cinematic motors. Cinematic motors. You'll see why I put air quotes on it in a little bit. And we're going to be doing some Whoop repairs. The canopy over here on the 32,000 kV rig is exploded. So we're going to swap on a smoke crotch gray colored canopy. The frame on the Jungle Gym Basher broke, so we're going to swap a new frame onto this. And what else are we doing? Q&A, as always. Mailbag. Got a box in the mail yesterday. And we're going to be testing fresh versus beat batteries. I've got a fresh rolled cell Beta FPV BT 2.0 300. I've got a fresh WeBleed BT 2.0 folded cell 300, and then I've got a Beat folded cell 300. I think this is one of the ones where the label's peeled off, so it's either a tinywhoop.com or a tattoo. Same thing as these WeBleed batteries, but just with a label that peels off when you put it into the battery bay over and over again. This has been charged and discharged My guess would be maybe 100 times or so. And then a Cinewhoop 270, which is somewhere in the middle. This is not so much of the test. This is just, I had it charged and it needs to get run down. But yeah, I would like to show you guys. I'm interested to see if you can tell through the internet how much better a fresh Cinewhoop battery is than a whooped one. And yeah, like I said, I had some batteries that I need to drain down, and what better way to do it than live? What's up, chat? Hockey Rounds was first. Big Fran was next. Northern Tier. Freelojo, Rockcrawler, Raven 187, Ram Donko, Morton Upshot, DNS Jules, Flush FPV, Borix, Rob Oxison, Douglas Otwell, Nani FPV, Mamacita 1111, Michael Blade, and CMYK. What's up, everybody? Yeah, that's everything that we're going to be doing today. This is my full-time job. If you like what I'm doing here and want to see me continue, I am completely crowdfunded. You guys control my fate. If you want my fate to be positive and to include these, you know, the continuation of these live streams forever, I need you to give me a couple of bucks. Patreon helps me out the most. For 10 cents a day, you can join the Patreon. It means a whole lot, and you get a ton of benefits. The Patreon goes up and down and up and down and up and down. Currently, it's in the downward direction, so if you have a couple of dollars, and you can hop on to offset the people that are jumping off for whatever reason, that would be amazing. And like I said, you get the most benefits from joining the Patreon page. The intro tier for 10 cents a day gets you access, and it gets you access to the Patreon, as well as a YouTube playlist with almost 90 unreleased videos, Patreon-only live streams, sketchy flying, I don't want to be live, all kinds of other nonsense. It's going to get you access to 2 different Facebook groups where you can just hang out and sell stuff, and the other one to a trusted group of people. It's going to get you full Discord access, which is going to get you things like the Video Collective, where you can post your edits, and other folks in our little group here can check them out and give you kind words, hopefully. That when you post in there, those are also the videos that I play during the giveaways when I'm setting the giveaways up, so it could even get your video played live here on the stream. And it's also going to give you access to the Patreon-only group called Stick Ends. It's actually called the Stick and Dick Ends Fund. Basically, you can rent out a box from me that has all of the in-stock stick ends in either M3 or M4 for your transmitter, and then you can actually put them on and see if you like them. A picture of a stick end on a website doesn't tell you anything. You have to literally put them on and put your little fingies on them to see if they work right for your brain, and also to see if they'll clear, like the bezels on your transmitter. Certain transmitters, the stick ends literally won't work on. So yeah, you can rent out a box from me, basically for the cost of shipping or more if you want to support the insanity, just by joining my Patreon. There are higher tiers, which are going to get you entered into monthly giveaways. The $5, $10, and $20 tiers will enter you into either Cinewhoop and Toothpick giveaway stuff for the $5 a month tier. $10 a month is going to put you in for 3-inch micro brushless and Cinewhoop parts. The $20 a month tier is going to enter you to win 5-inch parts. Or if you want to be an ultra supporter and you have an extra $1 a day that you can support your gangly buddy with, you can join the $30 a month tier, which enters you into all 3 of those giveaways. So you'll be entered into 3 giveaways every single month for Cinewhoop stuff, Toothpick stuff, 3-inch stuff, Cinewhoop stuff, and 5-inch stuff. There's also an Etsy store where you can buy yourself something nice to support me, as well as a Teespring store, same deal there. You can work one-on-one with me over on Fiverr. I've been doing this for almost 7 years. Take advantage of that and get some one-on-one time to ask me all the questions that have been burning a hole in your brain. Or I can walk you through some stuff. I can walk you through your next build and what parts to buy that don't catch on fire. I can help you tune and teach you how to tune so that you don't have to come back to me every time. And I can just help you fly better through the simulator. So yeah, lots of cool stuff going on over there. I love being able to put all of the blood, sweat, and tears that have gone into my, growth in FPV out into the universe to help other people have more fun, get better, faster, and build shit that doesn't make you want to quit the hobby. So, some other stuff going on over here. There's a PayPal if you want to do a super chat to directly support me, but you don't want YouTube to take 30%. And then a whole bunch of affiliate links here. If you're doing orders on any one of these websites, if you go to the website with my affiliate link by like copying, pasting it, and switching it into your bookmark, or just coming here and clicking it, if you click these affiliate links at any point before you check out, I'll get a small percentage of your total order. WeBleed FPV, Newbie Drone, FPV Cycle, Amazon, Get FPV, Oh My God, HD0, Flywoo, Emacs, Banggood, Camera Brother, AliExpress. Amazon, like, you don't have to buy FPV stuff. If you're buying like a chainsaw on Amazon and you hit my affiliate link here before you check out, I'll get a tiny little percent of that chainsaw purchase. The kind of annoying thing about affiliate links is that you have to hit them over and over again. Every time you check out, it wipes that person's affiliate code out of your shopping cart. So that's why a lot of people have just replaced their bookmarks to these websites with my affiliate links. Or if you don't use bookmarks, your URL bar, you can just type like AMA for Amazon and remove whatever the suggestion is that they're going to give you, and then hit my Amazon affiliate link a couple times, and then it'll think that that's where you want to go when you type AMA. You can do that with all these websites. Yeah, those are some free ways you can support me. Also, thumbs up, subscribe, bell, all that nonsense. Let's get into it, yo. First thing we're going to do is check out these new Axis 1404.5 motors. I'm going to use my own Get FPV affiliate link, and now my info is in my shopping cart, so next time I do a Get FPV order, I'll be using my own affiliate link. We're going to go to new products. I don't know why it opened up in a new tab. I think I might have clicked too hard or something. Hold on, let's take a quick look though. 40mm stuff. Okay. Oh, these are the new, oh, nice. Get FPV now has the new 1608 and 1609 Gemfan propellers in 1.5mm motor shaft. That's awesome. That's great. Do they have them in red? They don't have them in red. They just have them in the macho pink. Pyrodrone, I think, has these in like deep red. But I think they're sold out. And then look, they've got the new Gemfan 3525s, which are awesome. Very, very cool. BLV4 with crossfire on it. That's slick. A couple of the new crossfire rigs. There's the new Gemfan 45mm props. I don't really have any interest in those. But if you want more and more and more and more power from your bigger and bigger and bigger Cinewhoop, these 45s will definitely do it. I've heard a couple people complaining about the durability of these props. Nothing you can really do about that. As a propeller gets longer and longer and longer, your wife gets happier and happier. I mean, it gets less and less durable. As the blade gets longer, it's a longer lever to bend at the hub, and apparently that's what's going on with these 45mm props. That is one of the reasons that I'm not really interested in them. The main reason, though, that I'm not interested in them is that the 40mm props make tons of power. They make plenty of power. So I don't want to make the rig any bigger and heavier if I'm already getting enough power, right? Like, the name of the game is, in terms of like Cinewhoops, is to be as light as possible and as compact as possible while getting enough power. If you're trying to build like a long-range Cinewhoop or something like that, sure, 45mm props for certain, if not 2-inch props. But yeah, for like freestyle duty and stuff like that, the 40mm is the way to go, in my opinion. Looking for those motors. They'll be here in a second here. Hold on. I'm also kind of perusing. There's a bunch of new stuff up here. This is brand new and really slick. So I got to fly a couple of Walksnail whoops at Rampage, and they really, really, really impressed me. And then all of a sudden, Happy Model has a Moblite 7 with Walksnail in there. So yeah, this is amazing. For $225, this is just absurd. Switch this over to BT 2.0 and get some of the WeBleed FPV 450s, and you've got one hell of a rig. The motors that it comes with are close, but not quite there. They're 1002, 20,000 kV. That's going to give you a pretty decent, pretty decent power to weight ratio. And they're sold on Get FPV. The Flywoo 1002 23,500s are going to be considerably better, or the RC and Power 22,000s. But to be honest, and unfortunately you can't get them at the moment, but the Cinewhoop 1.5 millimeter shaft 802 25 and 27,000s are going to be your best bet. And they're these guys here, iGal Season 4 limited edition, and then they're these guys here, the snowblowers. These, in my opinion, are the best motors for a 75 millimeter Cinewhoop that you're going to run on the Gemfan biblades. These motors here that this thing comes with are going to work better on a tri-blade, like what we were looking at a second ago. The 1608 40 millimeter brand new tri-blades are going to work really well on these 1002s. But this rig is going to really come alive on an 802 that's 25,000 plus kV on the Gemfan biblades. That's going to just absolutely shred. And yeah, so do that when you can. But man, this thing for 225 bucks is a hell of a deal. You get Walksnail light, you get a canopy that that accepts it. How are they? I wonder how they're mounting. I wonder how they're mounting that camera. So it's the Walksnail Avatar Net. They have a 404 on their own website. Yeah, so I'm going to be diving into my Walksnail Whoop builds here end of this week and into next week. And I have to figure out how I'm going to mount the little light camera. I have an idea, but I'm super interested as to how they're doing it in this rig. I see a screw on the side of this. Let me take a blah 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 blah. Let's take a quick look and see if there's any kind of a useful breakdown in Al's video here. No, he doesn't take it apart or really show much of anything. And then I'll be damned if I watch him fly. So, yeah, this is kind of worthless, but for what I'm looking for at least. But picture shot. I see what looks like a screw here, but see the light camera. If any of you guys buy this, please, for the love of God, let me get a look at how this camera is mounted here, because yeah, I'm kind of dying to know. Yeah, 250 is a great deal. Although, actually, hold on. Before I say that, let me make sure that it doesn't have a Super B flight controller, which it does. Okay, don't buy it. 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 This AIO sucks a bag of dicks. Do not buy this. If you were going to buy this, you would need to get it off of this flight controller in order to have any kind of reliability, and these motors are too low of a kV. So yeah, I'm not gonna recommend that you buy this because that's like a big chunk of the cost. The only real reason to buy this would be in order to get this canopy and whatever the hell this mounting solution is. But hopefully we can figure that out. If you guys have seen this thing reviewed somewhere by someone that actually like digs in and does a proper review, and we can see how this camera is mounted, let me know. Because yeah, that's kind of the most interesting thing about this build here. What is this? Oh, so that it looks like they have a new version of the Super B. Well, that's interesting. I still think you shouldn't buy it because you have to direct solder the motors, and that's just absolutely asinine. But maybe this new version of the Super B is actually reliable. That would be pretty cool. Because the idea behind the Super B AIO is that it doesn't have a VTX with it because you're going to pair it with another VTX. And so, yeah, in theory it's good, but the first generation of this Super B AIO was incredibly unreliable. And this doesn't even say V2 or anything like that, so this might not even be a V2. GetFPV may have just not sold it in the past. Let's take a quick look. Yeah, I bet you they just haven't sold it in the past, because here it is. It's the only search result. So I'm going to say that unless you can confirm that this is a V2 of the Super B, I would stay away from that rig. Because, yeah, the original Super B AIO is a disaster. I'm going to tell you to stay away from it anyway, because it's just so stupid to have to direct solder Cinewhoop motors. That's just completely unnecessary. So, yeah, there you go. But I'm here because I'm looking for these damn motors. Where are they? They were on like the second page before Ramp. There they are. All right. So the reason why I wanted to find these in here is that I want to point out a couple of different motors. So this is the one that I've got here on hand that we're going to be taking a look at. But I wanted to point out, 1507 is a terrible motor size. Don't get 1507s ever. I mean, I guess, I don't know, for Avata, like it's no different. Like if you're gonna mod your Avata, don't put a 1507 on it. That's a terrible idea. Like put a 2004 or something like that on it. It's gonna be 1,000 times better. Yeah, I mean, I guess this is kind of a specific KV maybe, and there's no motor limiting or anything like that. But yeah, 1507 is a bad motor size, so I wouldn't recommend that. But look, this is why I wanted to show you guys this. They also have a 1303.5, and look at the KV, 5500 KV. That's super cool. I was really tempted to get a set of these 1303.5s, but what I don't really have anything for them. That the KV is cool because that allows you to like actually run 3S if you're gonna run like a 3-inch propeller. It's a little bit of a small motor for a 3-inch propeller, but yeah, we don't have many options at that 5500 KV. So just kind of an interesting motor. Yeah, I don't know what you would use it for, but I just wanted to show you guys that there are a couple new Axis motors. But the one that we're going to be taking a look at here today is this 1404.5 4500 kV. Apparently, it's specifically designed for professional cinematic FPV drones. I'll be the judge of that. Let's see if there's anything interesting in here. This is absolute nonsense. This is nonsense. That's more than likely nonsense. Designed for 2.5-inch Cinewhoops. There you go. That's what I'm putting it on. 4500K, they want you to run 4S. Good, smart there. All bunch of nonsense. Designed for tiny trainer. That's interesting. Apparently it's got a special magnetic circuit design. No, it doesn't. Curved arc magnets. That's great. N52, maybe. Mounting pattern 9x9. That's great. I like that a lot. Good looking motor. Let's see. Let's take a look at the weight. So they're saying the weight is 8.7 grams, excluding the cable. I have a box. So all of these are 1404s here. I have a box where I try to put one of every single motor that exists in some cases, but not truly, because that just costs way too much money. These are all of the 1404s that I have collected here, and we're going to compare this to those. But the first thing I want to do is see how close they are on the weight. The scale has come up to life. Yeah, they're pretty much dead on. 8.9 grams. And the reason why it's not 8.7 grams is that I leave 2 centimeters of wire on all of mine. When I get these all, I chop the wire down to 2 centimeters because that is roughly the amount of wire that you need to hook this up to a set of LED race wires. You know, this one of every motor thing, like, God forbid I need one more of that motor, I have it. Like, I don't want to completely remove the wires, right? Like, I want to be able to use these motors if I need them. So that's why I cut this down like this. So their weight is dead on the money, which is great. This is actually really interesting. Watch this. I've always wanted to do this, but I've always forgotten to do it. I have them with the full wires. Everybody puts a different length of wire on, so this is not a great test. But nonetheless, this is a nice little test of what these wires weigh. So 8.9 with 2 centimeters of wire. And then with all the... Wow. Okay, that's way more than I thought. 10.5 grams with not a lot of wire. I mean, a normal amount of wire. So yeah, there you go. This motor wire is relatively heavy because it's passing a lot of current, so it has to be a half decent gauge. Wow, damn, yeah, that's a lot. I thought it would be like 1 gram or so, and it was significantly more than that. Actually, I'm going to leave this scale out because we're going to weigh some of these 1404s. But let's continue to make fun of some of the specs here. Although I think we're pretty much good to go. 1.5 millimeter shaft up above the motor bell. That's a completely worthless spec. I would like what we really want to know is what the shaft is down below the motor bell. I mean, I can just tell you that it's 2 millimeters though, like looking at it. So yeah, there's that. This is all nonsense. This is all nonsense. The weight is great. Silicone wire, whatever, 22 gauge. That's nice to know. Oh, there you go. 150 millimeters. So it's 15 centimeters of wire. And then the dimensions, whatever. This drawing is nice when it shows you the thickness of the motor shaft, but in this case it does not. So it's kind of worthless, but whatever. And then be really aware of these thrust charts here on these motors. This is from the manufacturer, and so it's pretty much worthless because every different manufacturer is going to have a different thrust stand, and they all tend to use a different propeller, which completely invalidates any of the results. So yeah, to be honest, don't even look at these. These are completely worthless. If there is an individual that is testing a bunch of these motors on the same props, that's great. That's what you want to know. You know, I shouldn't say that this is worthless. I guess this has some value. Just don't take this as gospel. Like, understand that that there's no control for these numbers. But it is kind of interesting to see that this motor on a 5-blade 63 millimeter propeller will make 416 grams of thrust. That's pretty wild. That's an awful lot. And one of the interesting things that you can kind of see here is the RPM. So on the D63 tri-blade Cinewhoop propeller, at 100% throttle, it's able to ramp this thing all the way up to 45,574 RPM. But then down here on the 5-blade version of that propeller, it can only ramp up to 41,413. So I mean that kind of points to it beginning to get like overpropped on this D63 5-blade. Where we can really kind of confirm that is by looking at the efficiency numbers. So on the 3-blade, the efficiency is 1.61. The higher number, the better. And then on the 5-blade, it's 1.52. That's actually not that bad. That's not much of a difference. I would not necessarily call this like all that overpropped on a 5-blade. But it's just one of those interesting things to kind of look at, right? Like on this 5-blade, it is beginning to get overpropped. If this was like 1.61 on the tri-blade, and then on the 5-blade it was all the way down to like 1.4, 1.3, 1.2, then I would say like, yes, do not run this motor on a 5-blade 63 mil prop. But yeah, this is just what happens when you add 2 extra blades. Like this, I would totally expect to see this. You're getting a bunch more thrust for it in the grams column here, right? We got 386 for the tri-blade, and then 416 for the 5-blade. So, you know, that drop in efficiency comes with a bunch of extra thrust. That drop in RPM comes with a bunch of extra thrust. But, you know, those are just... And you can also kind of look at the amp numbers to get a feeling for that as well. 15.18 amps versus 17.38. If this was 15 and then this was like 20 or 21, 22, 23... it'd be like, yeah, it's not meant for this prop. This is too draggy of a propeller for it. But in this case, yeah, it looks like this 1404.5 is doing a half decent job at cranking this 2.5 inch 5-blade propeller, which is pretty impressive. I think 63 millimeters is 2.5, right? Yep, 2.4. So yeah, I'm excited about this motor. What else do we have? Dimensions, motor mounting hole size, blah, 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 20 gauge wire. This is just copy and paste from above. All right, cool. So what many of you that have been around for a long time are now dying to know is how notchy this motor is, right? So I bought this motor kind of specifically because they said motor is specifically designed for cinematic FPV drones. And as I have tested many times, and as many of you have seen in your own experiences, notchy motors are good for power, but they're not good for cinematic rigs because they cause jello. They put more vibrations into the frame. So the question, and also the reason why I bought a whole bunch of these individual motors and why I try to do that as often as I can is... essentially, if a motor is really notchy, if the notches are really defined and it's difficult to turn, it's going to cause jello earlier than a smoother running motor. This motor is pretty notchy. I got to be honest. I'm going to spin all of these 1404s in a second here, and I'm going to kind of rank it in terms of notchiness, but I'm just going to say right off the bat, because I've spun a million motors in my hands like this, and I just have a good feeling as to what is too notchy and what is, you know, smooth running. These are pretty notchy. These are. So, like, a quad that's going to be carrying a camera that is sensitive to jello, which basically means any camera other than a GoPro, you're going to want to be a little careful with this motor. This might not be the right motor for that rig. If you're carrying a naked GoPro or a full-size GoPro, this is going to be totally fine. GoPro does something magical that really prevents jello. And yeah, it's one of the great things about GoPro. But Insta360 cameras, the split-style cameras, any kind of like an onboard camera like O3 or Walksnail, those are all much more susceptible to jello, and this might not be the right motor for that. But let's start ripping through these, and I'm gonna weigh these while I kind of do this. But let me get caught up on chat super quick. Like Metal Dirtskin with a $5 super chat. Thank you so much, brother. He says, hi from Seattle. I may be taking my friend for a flight in the DJI goggles later. Any tips for first time ride-alongs? My most fun thing to do for first time ride-alongs is to like limp it around and just fly it like really soft and really calm for like 30 seconds to a minute to like lure them in. And they'll think that they know what's what, and then I'll just absolutely hammer the throttle, and you get like a really cool like oh my god sort of reaction, and then you hammer the throttle and you fly really hard for the rest of the battery, and it just gives them like this kind of cool experience, and you're also showing them like how versatile these rigs are, right? Like they're cinematic, they're freestyle, they're all these crazy things. So yeah, that's always my favorite thing to do with first time ride-alongers. RC Ritter with a $5 super chat. Thank you so much, homie. It was great to meet you and chat for a while at Rampage. Ritter says, Fusion in Orca installation fee for someone who had way too many brownies. Fusion in Orca. Fusion in Orca? Like a TBS Fusion module on Orca goggles? Installation fee? Oh, right. RC Ritter was all jacked up the one night at Rampage, and he had his orcas, and he was trying to get the. So when you put a receiver module on the goggles, there's all those pins, and it's like you got to be absolutely perfect. He was like, dude, can you get this? I'm all messed up. I was like, yes. So I sat there and I got them all lined up and snapped it in for him. And so now he's giving me $5 as an installation fee. Thank you, brother. That's very cool of you. Love it. All right, cool. So really quickly, in the chat, if you want to talk directly to me, all you got to do is type CiottiFPV. If you do that, it'll light up an orange, and I'll know that that you're talking to me. If you don't type CiottiFPV, I will respect your privacy, and you can talk amongst yourselves and, say any number of horrible things about me. But please don't, because if I see them, it'll hurt my feelings. And, that's just not cool. But yeah, let me get caught up on chat before we start diving in here. Freelojo says that he's going number 2. All right, Freelojo's pooping. Rockcrawler says, how do you see CiottiFPV? And everybody, Rob Oxison says CiottiFPV equals bunny killer FPV. Yeah, I tried to leave Rampage Sunday night and ran down, a bunny ran into my car at 50 miles an hour, annihilating my front bumper, which sucks. But, and then an armadillo tried to finish me off. And I said, you know what? Nope, I'm not figuring out what the third thing is and how badly it's going to try to kill me. And I just turned around, went back, hung out, went to sleep, and left on Monday morning when it was light out. Nani FPV says, what's going on? Michael Blade says, hey, buddy. CMYK says, yo, dude, what's up, gang? Brandon Woodford says, hey, man, what's up this evening? CMYK dropping the CiottiFPV.com link. Thank you, dude. Mamacita1111 says, what's your take on the Pavo Nano, and what would you recommend for parts if you've seen it? I've seen an awful lot of people flying the Pavo. Oh, the Pavo Nano. So that's the new one that carries 03. I have not seen an all-up weight on that rig. I want to say it's less than 100 grams. It seems the out-of-the-box setup seems to be pretty good of what the flight footage I've seen. So I might leave it alone. I mean, it's everybody has their own. Everybody has their own likes and wants and needs and desires in terms of like power to rate ratio. So I would get it and fly it and see if it has enough power. If it has enough power, I would leave it alone, to be honest. If it doesn't have enough power, whatever the motor size is, I want to say it's maybe 1202, maybe 1202 and a half. Go to a bigger motor. 1303 would be the starting place. But yeah, I don't have any specific recommendations. I would definitely recommend you get whatever the prop size is. I think it's maybe 2-inch. I would just get a bunch of different propellers that are in that size and just test them. See if they're louder, quieter, make more thrust, make less thrust, and you can kind of dial it in for your specific needs. So yeah, there's my recommendations. RC Ritter says, glad you made it home and didn't complete the trio with a deer. It was great hanging 3 a.m. campfires. Yeah, I had a blast. For sure. Nani FPV says, it's what's coming on the fractal bind and flies. The Super B. Interesting. Eves has the gear to test these AIOs. I'm pretty surprised that he's putting those into the fractal bind and flies. Although at the same time, like he's got bind and flies that come with the diamond AIO. And like I've seen him test the diamond AIOs and show how electrically noisy they are. So yeah, I don't know. But I have heard so many people complaining about the Super B, and mine lasted like 3 batteries. So that AIO can go to hell. in terms of durability and the fact that you have to direct solder the motors. Those are both complete deal breakers for me. Call me lazy, whatever. I fly hard and crash a lot, and soldering those tiny little leads on is just stupid as far as I'm concerned. It's totally doable, and the pads on that Super Bee are nice and separated, but it's just not something that I have any interest in doing. My main complaint about direct soldering motors onto AIOs is that certain frames the motor will not fit through the frame. So on certain frames, you're going to have to mount the motors in the frame and then hold the AIO in there and then manage to get a soldering iron in there without melting the plastic of the frame. It's just stupid. Just don't do that to yourself. Buy an AIO that has plugs, and your life will be infinitely better. Carlos FPV says, use that AIO on all my Avatar, I assume, builds. Which motor are you talking about, Carlos? Middleton says, that Axis 1303.5 might be your other toothpick motor for the shopping list, right in the 3-inch 3S toothpick sweet spot. I think it's too big. I really want to keep the weight down, and I'm actually looking for a motor that is both 3S and 2S capable. So I'm basically looking for like an 8,000 kV motor. I really think the motor to have for a 2S or 3S toothpick is the RC Power 1204. But yeah, I think, off the top of my head, I haven't really thought too much about this, but this Cinematic 1303.5, I think that's more for a 2-inch, like the new QAV, the new 2-inch QAV cinematic rig on GetFPV. I think that's more if you wanted to build that thing really lightweight, like if you wanted to build it to not carry a GoPro or a naked GoPro or an Insta360 Go. I think that 1305 would be a better fit for that, because then you put it on 3S or 4S and you're good to go. But that's an interesting idea, Metal. I'm going to mull that over. Michael D says, the Walksnail Moblite 7 canopy looks like the one on the Mobula 8. I posted pictures in Livestream Live on Discord. Very cool. Let's take a look. So this is one of the Patreon only text channels here on my Discord. Got to give me 10 cents a day to get access. And there's lots of really good stuff. Yeah, that's totally the one. Dude, thank you. Okay, so this is really what I want to see. Let's open it in the browser so it gets nice and big. Okay. Okay. So, all right, so this solves part of the question that I've got as to where that screw head was in that picture. My other question though is so the Walksnail light camera does not have threading on the side here. It's just like the Runcam Nano 3, where it's got just holes up in the corners. So yeah, the other part of my question is, this is super helpful, Michael D, thank you. But yeah, the bigger part of the question is how the hell they have mounted the camera then to that. More than likely, it's a very similar setup to the Mobula 6 canopy, which there's just another little piece that goes in the back of it. And when I build my Walksnail Cinewhoop here, I'm going to take that other piece and I'm going to Dremel the back of it out, because somebody at Rampage showed me theirs that they'd done that on, and it fit really nice in here. The lens hung out pretty far, and there was like a specific angle that you could crash at where the lens would smack the ground first, which sucks. But it's initially, and for the fact that off the rip here, the rig is just going to be an RC drift car chasing thing, it's going to be totally fine until we can kind of figure out a better way of mounting the Walksnail light camera. So guys, do me a favor, keep your eye opened for people doing Cinewhoop Mob Light builds with the Mob Light camera. And let's, like, if you can grab pictures and put them on your desktop and throw them into the Toothpick and Whoop Patreon only Discord channel, that'd be great. Let's get like a little. I know that there's a beta FPV canopy apparently that works. That was the other one that I saw. But those canopies are a lot bigger and chunkier and heavier. But yeah, let's get as many camera mounting options as possible, because I really think that these Walksnail whoops are going to become a thing. It just seems to be the best of all worlds, right? Like, it's only a tiny bit heavier than HD0. The digital quality in your goggles is going to be better. The range is going to be better. And then you've got onboard DVR so that you don't have any nasty rainbow breakup in the footage coming out of it. And yeah, in a tiny whoop, like, that's rad, man. You can just go anywhere and fly that thing around, and nobody's going to get pissed, and you're going to get really nice 1080p footage. So yeah, if you see someone with a Walks, even if it's not a tiny whoop, just I'm curious how people are going to mount that Walksnail light camera. If we can get a bunch of different mounting solutions on our little Toothpick and Whoop channel here, that'll help everybody out when they, potentially do that build, to figure out how to mount that camera in a way that's, camera mounting is not something that gets talked about a lot. It's so important. It is so important. The camera system is one of the more expensive parts of the quad, and it's like absolutely essential to you flying good. Like, if you have your camera mounted a little bit sideways, you're gonna fly like shit. If it's pointing a little bit sideways, you're gonna fly like shit. Like, it's really important to have the camera perfectly squared up and on a mount that's not gonna let it eject or let it hit the ground first. And so yeah, camera mounting is a really big deal. YouTube just did the thing. Scrolling back up. WeBleed FPVs in the house. What's up, Zotek? How are you, brother? Zotek says, hey, gangly gang, CiottiFPV, good evening, my friend. Oh wait, no, I guess we did mailbag yesterday Monday we did a mailbag with my WeBleed FPV box. Huge shout out and gigantic thank you again, Zotek, for all the extra fun stuff that you threw into that box. That stuff will be featured on the next Monday's live stream, I think, because that's a giveaway live stream. 24th. No, it's not. The Monday after that. Next Monday is the 29th. Not quite yet. So yeah, shout out to WeBleed FPV for being a massive supporter of me and this channel. And in the end, you guys, right? Because like the stuff that he sends me ends up going into giveaways and going out to you beautiful people. So, yeah. CKFPV says, rank the systems best to worst for sub 250. Analog, DJI, Walksnail, HD0. To be honest, there really is no best and there really is no worst. All of the different systems have their own pros and cons. Analog is great because it's cheap and it's really lightweight, and so then you can carry an external HD camera, which has a lot of benefits, right? Like, there's a reason that we do that on 5-inch rigs. It's a separate camera that can potentially have its own warranty on it. You can take it off if you don't need it, right? And you save a bunch of weight. So yeah, analog has a lot of great benefits. You've got stuff like the RunCam Hybrid that has an individual FPV lens separate from the HD lens, so you get crazy low latency. I guess that's another huge advantage of analog, is the absolute lowest latency possible. DJI is like OG digital system, locked in, set in stone. You can find it cheap used. Might already have the goggles, might already have a bunch of other rigs with it on there. Walksnail gives you slightly better picture quality, right? Instead of 720, you get 1080. You get onboard DVR, which is a really big deal. The VTXs are a little bit lighter weight, which is great. And I'm sure there's some other advantages that I'm forgetting about. And then HD0 is the digital latency king, and it's really good for racing. Personally, I don't really know what else HD0 is good for. that's really kind of being less antisocial for sure. Like HD0 plays better with all the other systems. It doesn't bleed as badly. So, but yeah, mainly HD0 in my opinion is for racing. It's kind of a no-brainer for racing if you're not gonna go analog. So, yeah, no real best, no real worst, just different. There tends to not be best or worst in life. There's just different. You know, even stuff that like sucks is typically cheaper. So it's not like worse if you don't have the money, right? If you're broke, it's the best because it's what you can afford. So yeah. Peter Sovis says, any tips on how to actually buy 702 30,000s? Actually, yes. Yeah, come to think of it, I do have tips. Follow Cinewhoop everywhere. Follow Cinewhoop on Instagram, on Facebook, anywhere else they have any kind of social media presence. Join their Facebook group and be active in there, because the more active you are in a group, the more Facebook will give you notifications. All of those things are going to work because it's going to give you the most opportunity to see. Jesse is in the habit of posting on either Facebook or Instagram or wherever when stuff comes into stock. So by joining all of the tinywhoop.com, platforms or whatever, channels, I guess, you have the best possible chance of seeing when this stuff comes in stock, because otherwise you have to go to their website every single day, and that's just insane. But yeah, that's about it. Jesse orders as many as he can, as many as they're willing to make for him, and then we just gobble them all up. It's a great problem to have, but if he could get more, he would. So don't get pissed off at Jesse for it. Don't get pissed off at Happy Model either for it, because they're doing their best. They don't have the ability. There's nobody to get mad about. There's just a lot of us, and yeah, I mean, welcome to post-pandemic life, I guess, right? Like, this is a problem everywhere. So it's not just us. The whole world is having problems manufacturing things and keeping them in stock. We just have to be as patient as possible. It sucks as an answer, but that's the best answer I can give you. At the moment, you can get WeBleed FPV 702 28,500 kV motors, which make a ton of power, and you'll probably never need more power than that. Over on WeBleed.com. I do have an affiliate link over on CiottiFPV.com. I love those WeBleed motors. I am always looking for that extra little bit more. I'm all the way up to 32,000 kV. Like, if you're willing to put in hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of batteries to get good enough for the stupid amount of power that the 32,000 kV 702s have, that's great. Most people don't. Most people will have to motor limit even the 28,500s down, because they're hard to fly. It's a lot of power for a Cinewhoop, and you end up playing this game where you're just like ping-ponging wall to wall in your house. So yeah, most people will never need more than the 28,500. I try my best to be as good of a pilot as possible. And so for me, I can handle the higher KV, but yeah, most people will never notice. Nani FPV says, going back to the Super Bee, I heard all these same things, so I tried the Happy Model F4 Cross, and the ESC died in like 12 packs. Happy Model has an AIO that is absolute unicorn farts magical, and it's the regular old 5 amp Mobula 6 full-sized ELRS AIO. When the Happy Model F4 Cross came out, I was kind of like, oh, that's interesting. I'll bet it sucks like all their other AIOs, and it sounds like it might. Hopefully Nani had a one-off experience, but I am completely uninterested in anything other than that one Happy Model AIO, which I've had unbelievably good luck with, and I think you will too. So, yeah. It's awful tough to get anything for Cinewhoops that's that has remotely decent quality control. So be careful. If you're going to buy anything other than the regular old F4 5 amp full size Happy Model AIO, you're on your own. And frankly, I told you so. Nani, thank you for, testing that ESC AIO. I hate that it blew up on you, but thank you for letting us know so that hopefully somebody won't buy it. Although, if that thing died within 12 batteries, I would message whoever you bought it from and say, hey, look, this died in 12 batteries. I didn't do anything crazy to it. Can you please help me out here? And maybe they'll do something for you. They have all the right in the world to say no, because for all they know, in 12 batteries, you sat it full throttle the entire time or crashed it into water 18 times, right? But it's worth a shot. It's worth a quick shot. Shooting a quick email over to see if they'll at least give you a discount on something else. Professor Biohazard says, got a Diatone Roma L3 frame to make a lightweight Walksnail Night Ripper. What motor props do you recommend for lightweight 3-inch freestyle? It really does depend on the weight. But my blanket suggestion at the moment is going to be the T-Motor 1404 4600 kV. And then run it on 4S. That's a motor that will cover most 3-inch freestyle rigs, and it's arguably the best 1404 that's available. So that's going to be my blanket sort of recommendation. I don't know that frame. I don't know what the rest of the build is going to be. So lightweight to some people means 100 grams all up. To other people means 300 grams all up. It really kind of depends. But the T-Motor 1404s are a really good choice. Ethan W. says, couldn't you use a fractal frame with the Walksnail light camera? Yes, and that is actually sort of the plan. Initially, though, I'm going to put it in a regular frame and see if the ducts are in view. But I have a 75 millimeter fractal frame ready to go. That Walksnail light will probably end up in. I don't want to use that for freestyle stuff, though. I don't like the fractal frames for freestyle stuff. I really think that the fractal frames are specifically for cinematic-ish use, because they keep the ducts out of view. Other than that, they don't really do anything better than than the standard traditional Cinewhoop setups. And they do a number of things worse. So yeah, the fractal frame is kind of like my backup, or I might just put it in there anyway, because it's kind of cool to have the camera so far forward, because once the rig is up at tilt flying, the camera is really low. So it might end up in there regardless, but on the first shot, I'm going to put it into a regular frame that's going to hold the camera much more solidly. The fractal frames, the way that they hold the camera can rotate and wiggle and change up tilt whenever it wants, and that just drives me mad. So I'm going to try to put it into a regular setup with a better camera mounting system and see if there's no props in view, and then we'll take it from there. Michael D transferred Mobula 7 HD to the Mobula 8 frame, Flywoo 1002 23.5s, almost 10 extra grams, but for a heavy whoop, it flies so much better and doesn't feel lighter. Yeah, man, those Flywoo 1002 23.5s are beasts. 10 extra grams is a lot. Jesus. But if you're flying outside, the Mobula 8 frame and just, adding more power might be what you want. Ramdago says, what's the different appeal from a Walksnail whoop or an HD0 whoop? HD0, very simple. HD0 whoop is for racing. Walksnail whoop is for freestyle there's some bleed over. HD0 whoop is for racing or freestyle if you don't want to show other people the footage. Walksnail is for freestyle if you want to put the footage up or cinematic kind of stuff. Professor Biohazard says, I built a 2-inch Walksnail using the Flywoo Nano Baby 20 canopy. It's heavy but fits very tightly. Very cool. Flywoo Nano Baby 20 canopy. Let's take a quick look. I believe that is a 3D printed canopy. Don't quote me on that. Yep, sure is. Yeah, so that's going to be as Biohazard said, it's heavy, but it's great that it fits in there. That's really cool. It'll probably be easier to see on a lighter colored one. Yeah, it's going to be a pretty heavy canopy. But yeah, it's nice that that's an option. Good to know that that it fits in there. Thank you, dude, for that feedback. Antenna receiver. It looks like yeah, it's going to be extra heavy because it's got all these extra provisions for like to hold the receiver and this little thing for the antenna. Don't do that, Flywoo. Just put a hole. Just don't put this lip here. Just put a hole there. And then it looks like it's got a provision up on top. I guess you could cut that stuff off. It's got another provision up top to hang an HD camera off of it. I mean, I try to stay away from TPU camera mounts in general because they tend to be heavier. But yeah. WeBleed says, all good, glad to spread the love. Hell yeah. Todd Burke says, how often does just one ESC fade out on an AIO board? Is there a good way to test other than swap motors to be sure the flight controller needs to be replaced? Betaflight or ESC configurator on something? Nope. The absolute best way is to take, like, if one channel's acting up, take that motor and another motor and swap them. That is a super simple, just dead reliable test. If you swap the motors and the problem moves with the motor's bad. If the problem stays on the same channel, it's the ESC. 100% of the time. There's no, like, that will never not give you a one-to-one perfect answer. How often does just one ESC channel fade out? Very often. That's how ESCs die. Whether it's an AIO or a full-blown ESC, doesn't matter. ESCs almost never drop more than one channel at a time, so that's super common. And that's the main way that they do die. Like, typically ESCs don't just completely explode all at once. I guess sometimes you'll have like the shunt resistor die on them, or the current sensing will die, but 99% of the time when an ESC dies, one of the channels goes. And it's what's happening is there's 3 FETs per channel usually, and one of the FETs dies or starts to get damaged. And that's what leads to that behavior. So yeah, super common. WeBleed says, just wait until the end of June 23. We should have our newest, 32,500 kV Knurled shaft 702 BLWB motors. These will be called Screamers. Very, very, very cool. That's rad. I love that. ATXFPV says, I got your old Super B in my Fractal 75. It was infected with new Bluejays causing the ESC issue. So I need to remember now that every single ESC failure that I've had in the last however long that Bluejay 0.17, 8, and 9 have been out has potentially been due to Bluejay rather than shit quality control. Thank you for that reminder, Athix. I didn't even remember that. I didn't remember what I did with that Super B. I would have assumed that I just threw it away. I love that I didn't. You know, if I know something is bad for sure, I'll throw it away. If there's any amount of doubt, I'll hang on to it, and I'll come on stream and say, like, hey, does anybody want this? I'll sell it to you stupidly cheap. And this right here is exactly why I did that. So, okay. Maybe the Super B is not a bad flight controller. God damn it. AIO, rather. Yeah, okay. God damn it. This is super annoying. This is super, 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 super annoying. For anybody that's lost, go like a week or two back, and I have a video with the Bluejay logo on it and talking about like problems and with the 3 newest versions of Bluejay 0.17, 8, and 9. They have this problem where they act as if they act in the exact same way that an ESC acts when one of the channels is starting to die and one of the FETs is starting to die. And so, yeah. Damn. Okay. Shit. At the moment, I have had success with 4 out of 5 ESCs. Wait, no, let me put that a different way. I have tested 5 BL Heli S ESCs. Only one of the 5 does not have problems with Bluejay 0.17, 0.18, and 0.19. 4 of those 5 were having problems that show up exactly like one of the channels is dying and the ESC needs to be thrown away. And in all 4 of those, flashing it back to Bluejay 0.16 completely fixed it. So this is a huge problem affecting a shitload of ESCs and AIOs. So yeah, I need to be more careful about which AIOs and ESCs that I say suck and you shouldn't buy. My God, is that annoying. Todd Burke says, I used an X12 flight controller with 1002 GTS V3 14,000s on 2S XT30 capacitor using pinch ultra wide sitting Mobby 7 V3 frame, 31 grams without battery, 5 minutes flight, super fast. Very cool. Very, very cool. Yeah, the X12 says that it works with 2S. I'm very tempted to... I wish that I could fit one of those into the frames that the tiny trainers run on, but unfortunately the X12 is an oversized AIO that will only fit in the Mobula 7 V3 and V4 frames. And I've tried to build a tiny lifter with a non-carbon fiber braced frame, and it doesn't work. You can't get the PID tune cranked up enough to control the weight of the heavy-ass HD camera on top. So yeah, the tiny lifters will continue to stay on newbie drone gear. But yeah, that sounds like a cool build, Todd. All right, 1404 Smackdown, real quick here. Firing up the scale, I'm just going to rip through all of these 1404s. I'm going to call them out and hold them up to the camera. I could do this on the down-facing, but I'm not going to. Sorry. You're not really going to see much. Axis 1404. These all have 2 centimeters of motor wire on them. Axis 1404, 4500 kV, brand new motor. I already gave you this number, but 8.9 grams. And I'm also going to kind of like give you guys an idea of the notchiness. In terms of the notchiness, I'm going to say, and this number could change after I start turning a bunch of these, but I'm going to say initially 8 out of 10. 1 being the best, 10 being the worst. I'm going to say 7 or 8 out of 10. But again, as I start to fondle more of these, we're going to... and by the way, I have all of these weights on the Patreon. So that's another great reason to join the Patreon. I have a ton of like tech articles and just weights and stuff like that over there that you'll get access to. HGLRC 1404, 9.5 grams. What the hell did they make this thing out of? HGLRC Aeolus 1404, 4800 kV. Way, way, way heavy. Not very notchy though. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 10 in terms of notchiness. This is a T-Motor 1404, 4600 kV, 8 grams. Wow, I'll tell you what, this 1404 is pretty light for what it is. 8.1 I'm sorry, 1404 and a half rather, the new Axis one. T-Motor 1404, 8.1 grams, and from a notchiness perspective, it is a little bit more notchy than the fat-ass HGLRC motor. I'm going to give it a 5 to 6 out of 10. And I'm ordering these on my desk here in order of notchiness, so that I can like revisit them afterwards. Big Fat Heavy Zing 2 1404, 4600 kV. The kV doesn't really matter on any of these, but I've bought the highest kV on all of them, so this is and that's what you should do too. 8.9 grams. Heavier than a 1404 and a half. It's nice and smooth though. I think this is the smoothest one so far. It's not. HDLRC has iFlight make their Aeolus motor. These two feel... So this is how I test. I head-to-head test motors. I just like pinch them like this. And then I can go back and forth between them. And yeah, these two feel completely identical. So yeah, I bet you HDLRC is having iFlight make their motor, and that would also explain why the HDLRC motor is so unbelievably heavy, just like the Zing 2 is. X-Nova 1404, crazy notchy. It should be pretty light though. Yeah, 8.6 grams, nice and light. But one of the more notchy motor options here, I'm gonna compare it with the Axis. Oh boy. Not as notchy as the Axis. So far the Axis is the worst. Let me test it against the T-Motor 1404. Yeah, way more notchy than the T-Motor. So I'm going to give that a notchiness rating of 7 out of 10. Axis 1404 in 45,100 kV. 4,500. 45.1, 4,500 kV. This one's pretty smooth. The weight is 8.3 grams. And I really like this Axis motor. Unfortunately, you can only get this high kV from Newbie Drone. It's my second favorite motor to the T-Motor 1404. It's less notchy than the T-Motor too. So I'm going to give it a notchiness rating of, I don't know, 3 to 4 out of 10. Happy Model EX 1404 4800 kV. That's right. This is brutal notchiness. 7.7 grams though, nice and light. Super cheap motor, like that you can just tell like it's kind of chintzy and it's probably not going to put up with a lot of abuse. But it is heinously notchy. I think it's more notchy than the X-Nova. Oh yeah. Notchiness rating of 8 to 9 out of 10. I think it's more notchy than the Axis. Nope. Axis is still the notchiest. The Axis 1404 and a half is still the notchiness. Jesus, notchiest. I didn't think it was that bad, but now that I've tested all these, discontinued Zing 1504. This is the smoothest running motor. It's kind of heavy though, 10.4 grams. I'm heartbroken that they discontinued this motor. Notchiness is like 2 out of 10. This thing is brilliantly smooth. We got a little bit of Flywoo NIN 1404 4850 kV. This one's nice and smooth as well, but it's really heavy if I remember correctly. Oh god, yeah. Woo boy, 9.6 grams. Jesus Christ. 9.6 grams, really smooth though. I'm gonna give this like a 3 out of 10. This is the only motor any smoother is the Zing discontinued 1504. OG Zing 1404 is 8.8 grams and 4,600 kV. This one's somewhere in the middle. Say like 5 out of 10 maybe. Let's compare it to the Axis 1404. A little bit more notchy than the Axis. Maybe it's about the same as the T-Motor. Let's see. iFlight. Yeah, feels exactly the same as the T-Motor, but it's way heavier. So the fact that it's been discontinued is probably a good thing. Last one that I've got here is the Brother Hobby little green and gold guy, 1404 4600. I think I remember it being kind of heavy. No, 8.1 grams. 8.2 grams once the scale settled, but it is very notchy. 8.2 grams. What's the T-Motor weigh again? Same, 8.1, 8.2. Let's see. All right. A little bit more notchy than the T-Motor. A good choice. I'm personally boycotting Brother Hobby at the moment. They did Bob Ruge pretty dirty. on a set of motors that he ordered through them. So I'm personally not buying anything Brother Hobby. But yeah, this is a decent performing motor. And it's fairly light for what it is. So yeah, there we go. In order of least to most notchy, discontinued Zing 1504, heavy ass Flywoo NIN 1404, heavy ass Zing 2 1404, heavy ass HDLRC Aeolus 1404, one of my favorites, Axis 1404, my other favorite, T-Motor 1404, discontinued Zing 1 V1 1404, Brother Hobby 1404, X Nova 1404, Happy Model 1404, and then the notchiest of the bunch, the brand new Axis 1404.5. Here's what I will say about this Axis motor, is it's going to make an assload of power. The more notchy a motor is, the more power it makes. You got to be careful of that with these small motors, though, because they're small and they don't shed a lot of heat. So this motor might have overheating problems. Many notchy motors really struggle with that. And when that happens, when a motor overheats, it keeps asking the battery for more and more and more power, and instead of converting that into thrust, it converts it into heat. When the magnets overheat, they start to lose power. So it's a really bad. It's just really bad for a motor to have too much power for the size that it is. That changes depending on the pilot. Some pilots are harder on the throttle than others. For me, I got this motor to put on these chase rigs, and it's a little worrying, right? Like, I don't want this motor to use to make too much power. But the flip side of that is that these cyclists are riding at a static speed, 30 to 40 miles an hour. And I've already confirmed that T-Motor 1404s and Zing 1504s have basically just barely enough size to stay cool enough for me to chase these cyclists at those speeds. And so I won't use the extra power that this 1404.5 has. And it is a bigger can, right? Like, it's not a wider can. I would rather have a wider can, but nobody makes 1504s right now. And 1604 is too big and heavy. But it is a taller can, and it does, like, the bigger size is going to act as a bigger heat sink. So because I'm not all of a sudden going to be chasing 50-mile-an-hour riders, this actually should be fine. The extra power that this has will be nice because the PID loop will be able to access that extra power. So in a situation where the T-Motor 1404 would run out of power, like really heavy swirling winds, the 1404.5 will have the extra volume and power to deal with that environment. And when the PID loop is asking for power, it usually won't overheat the motor like us just hammering the throttle does, because the PID loop asks for power in little short bursts. You'll typically not get like swirling winds that are constant that overheat the motor. In terms of like finding a motor that's as small as possible, which is kind of the name of the game for staying under sub 250, for your intended use, this becomes really important. And yeah, but typically where the overheating occurs is you on the throttle. So how hard are you on the throttle? How fast are you expecting that motor to cruise? If you expect it to cruise at 50, 60, 70 miles an hour, 1404s are not big enough for that. You need a 1604 or maybe even an 1804. Make sense? Cool? So there we go. There's all of the 1404-ish motors compared. I had all of these out because I brought them to Rampage with me. so that anybody that wanted to, you know, get handsy with them and check out the different motors could. And I'll start doing that every year. I should have actually just brought, this is my little box with one of, definitely not one of every, but one of many motors that I just kind of keep on hand as like a constant, and I can kind of always reference back to this to judge the notchiness of a motor. And yeah, it hasn't cost me that much money because it's just one of each motor. And a lot of the motors in there I'm running, so it serves as like a backup, you know, an extra. If I try not to go in there. Like I try to have, when I order motors, I'll buy 5 or 6, and so if I buy 6, one of them goes in there. I have one extra in my flight bag, and then the 4 go onto a rig. But yeah, worst case scenario, I can hit that for an extra. Hockey Rounds with a $2 super chat. He says, what do you use to repair brakes in Meteor 65 frames? E6000 or welder, as Athix calls out right below your comment, is your best bet. But to be honest, just buy another. They're only $3. They're so durable that they typically won't break. E6000 welder is great, but it is going to let go again. And you can run into issues with it laying up kind of thick and then like the propeller coming by and hitting it. So yeah, just next time you do an order, or if this is your excuse to do an order like 3 of the damn things. They're only $3 each. If you go to tinywhoop.com, there are some custom dyed Meteor 65 frames that are really, really cool looking. So you can kind of do that. Yeah, there you go. So yeah, you can get some really cool two-tone and like, yeah, all kinds of fun colors. Although it would appear they aren't all sold out, are they? Oh boy, they're all sold out so far. Oh boy. Well, I think I've sold you on some. Hey, there's one. So you can get dark oak. Or you can get limoncello two-tone, clear on the bottom, yellow up top. Looks like that's it, though. Yep. So you got 2 different choices at the moment on the hand-dyed frames. Athix says, I can fly. I burned the back and thumb of my right hand with bacon grease Monday. Hope to recover quickly. Yikes. Burned the back. Oh my god, that sucks, dude. Off Axis says, hey buddy, I think my package is in limbo somewhere. Nope, I'm the worst. It's sitting right here. Sorry, brother. I was waiting to hear back on something. I think it was on the lanyard. And then Rampage Prep got me. Was there anything else that I was waiting for an answer from you on? I don't think so. I think it was just the lanyard. Ciotti is limbo, I think says. Yeah. I will get this out tomorrow. Thank you for the reminder. It's Binks Mage. Binks Mage is the one that I'm waiting for. Him to let me know which lanyard and what his t-shirt size is. So if anybody knows Binks Mage, tell him to message me, because yeah, his giveaway win from earlier this month is in need of a little bit of feedback. So I sent him the right size shirt and whatever lanyard he wants. Off Axis says, save the lanyard and goggle strap for someone else. RVS gave me ones. No worries. All right. Well, this one is now available again. This is the one that Off Axis wanted, so this will go back into the stash. Very cool. All right, man. Yeah, this will head out the door tomorrow. You got a beta FPV module coming to you. You know what? And since I made you wait. I'm also going to throw in a an ELRS receiver, a beta FPV ELRS receiver. Where's the one? What does this mean? What's that mean? Hang on. No. Where is it? Is that the one? Get out of there! Yeah. Look at you go. Alright. Oh shit, I like that sound. What's that sound mean? Fly Tribe Magazine with a $20 super chat. Thank you, brother. He says, super nice meeting you this weekend. We all had a blast hanging out together at Rampage. I talked a bunch about... where the hell did I put it? There it is. I talked a bunch about Fly Tribe on Monday's live stream, but for anybody that missed it, Fly Tribe is a little organization down in Florida that's actually making an FPV magazine, and that is super rad. Like, you ever want to feel like your career and or hobby is legitimized, being in print will do that for you for sure. If you've ever been a fan of Thrasher magazine, the old school skateboarding magazine, it's probably still around. Yeah, you'll recognize the look and feel of this. This is awesome. This is really well done. I don't think there's like distribution quite yet for the magazine, but there certainly will be. I talked to them about maybe like, can I snag a bunch of these to put up on my Etsy store, maybe like 5 or 10 just to throw up there. So maybe at some point you guys will be able to get this over from CiottiFPV.com and then hitting the Etsy button. I'm sure that they will get distribution because they're doing an incredible job here. So yeah, if you can get your hands on one of these, definitely grab it. It's awesome. This will look cool sitting on your bench or, coffee table or whatever. And yeah, they're just doing a great job with it. There's some really cool articles in here. Great photography. And I was talking Monday about how, like, FPV is super funny where, like, there's just never any photography of us. There's never any still images of us. We live in this world of 30 and 60 frames a second, but then we kind of like sometimes forget to take still images of our stuff. And quads are kind of cool looking. They're kind of utilitarian looking, but yeah, it's just super, super, super cool to see stills of FPV. So look them up. You might be able to, here, I did this on Monday's stream. I'll do it again today. You can probably point your phone at your screen and scan that QR code to, I'm assuming that maybe points to a website, like a link tree or something like that. But yeah, just search for Fly Tribe, FLYTRIBE, on Facebook, Instagram, all over the place. And I'm sure they've got a bunch of different socials set up. And yeah, support them, man, because they're doing cool stuff. And the FPV scene in Florida is unlike anywhere else. They've really eclipsed Atlanta as like the mecca of FPV. And so yeah, hook them up, man. They're doing awesome work. And this is the kind of thing that we need to support, guys. Like, even if you're not a fan of magazines and you've gone all digital, these are people making really good content. And so just supporting them is a really good idea. And supporting, $5 or $10 with a magazine, like that's a pretty easy way to kind of support some people that are making really cool shit in the hobby. You know what I mean? So yeah, very, very cool stuff. Absolutely love it. Thanks for the super generous super chat, Fly Tribe. That's very cool of you, man. And it's also run by a couple of really awesome guys. Like, they were super cool to hang out with and chat with at Rampage. And yeah, just supporting cool people is always a good thing. Marcel Alfaxa says, thanks. You're certainly welcome. Fly Tribe says, thank you, man. We'll be in touch soon for sure. Awesome. RC Ritter says people were fighting over them. Nice. As well they should have been. Alfaxa says that's no magazine, that's a freaking book. Moby Dick had less pages. All right, cool. 7:30. Let's dive into mailbag. I stole that from Mighty Car Mods. If you're at all interested in cars and you're not subscribed to Mighty Car Mods here on YouTube, you're an idiot. Get subscribed right now. We did mailbag on Monday. This is just a tiny little. This is a tiny little nutsack bag. I've got some of. Check out my tiny little nutsack bag. These are the 1.2 inch 1208 brand new gem fan tri-blades with a 1.5 millimeter hole in them. I won't use them, but you know, I have every single Cinewhoop prop ever made, so I might as well have them. This is another set of the new Gemfan 3525 3.5 inch propellers. I have a few sets of these, but I have like a split of gray and bright yellow. It's what's on this. Well, no, it's down here actually. I need to mess around with it, but it's on this. They flew fucking great over the weekend. They're a really good propeller. I just wanted some more gray ones for the stash to make sure I have them. I snagged a left-hand circular polarized Singularity UFL Light. This is what I run on all the DJI rigs, and I just didn't have any extras, so I snagged one of these. And the main reason that I did an order on Pyrodrone was that they are the only place that has the Happy Model F4 5 amp full size indestructible AIO in stock. So I grabbed another one of these. I should just hold on to it and keep it like in stock, but instead what I'll do is another one of my ultimate freestyle Cinewhoop builds that we will live auction on a future live stream. Maybe next Wednesday, I'm not really sure. But yeah, there'll be another ultimate freestyle Cinewhoop build coming. I don't know what motors it will be on. My guess is going to be that I'll put it on WeBleed FPV 702 28500s, but don't quote me on that. So yeah, another for auction build with my tune, with my rates, all the little tricks and whatnot. Yeah, coming up for you. The 2X Whiskey says, I was testing various motors on Super BHD0 Whoop, then I went from Newbie Drone 702 19,000s to Happy Model 702 23,000s. It behaved like an old Inductrix hitting low voltage after 5 seconds into flight. 2X Whiskey also says, $5 PayPal headed your way, and thanks. Thank you, dude. So, my guess... So my experience with the Super B AIO was that it was very electrically noisy, and the higher you go on KV, the higher you go on power in general, the more electrical noise you introduce to the system. So off the top of my head, that's my first guess. But put Bluejay 0.16 on it before you do anything else to see if that helps. I'm going to find a link for you here. So we're going to go to live, and we're going to look for the Bluejay. Here it is. So this is the live stream that you want. And if we take a look at the timestamps that Apache Smoke Wounded Sniper very kindly did, here we go. At 1 hour and 8 minutes, here's how you can roll back to Bluejay 0.16. So I'm going to click that. And then I'm going to click share, start at 108. I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to drop that into the chat. So there you go. Hit that link. Get it. Oh, you meant to say Newbie Drone 29,000 kV? Okay, well then it's almost certainly electrical noise related, but backdate it to Bluejay 0.16, and that might help it. If that doesn't help it, I've had the same experience with the Diamond and the Super B, where you put really high kV motors on it and the electrical noise is too much and the thing just goes bananas. What you can try to do to isolate that and figure out if that's what it is for sure is go into your PIDs tab, take the PID sliders and move them down a bunch. Move the PID sliders from like they're going to be at around 1.0, move them down to like 0.6, and then go over to the slider menu. Was I doing that right? Yeah, for you guys. I have to do everything backwards for you guys. And then go into the filter tab, and if the filters are anything above 1.0, pull the filter slide. It'll be this way. Pull the filter sliders down to 1.0, maybe even pull them all the way down to 0.8. And if that helps, then you've isolated that it's an electrical noise problem. The only real solution is to put a capacitor on, and that sucks on a Cinewhoop, and that's really not a good solution. The actual solution is to get rid of that AIO, because it's electrical noise is a failure in the way that AIO is being built. And there's been loads of problems with the Super B. There's loads of problems with the Diamond. The Diamond has specifically been tested by Eves from Fractal and has been shown to have nasty electrical noise. And it makes sense, right? That normally they have a full 25 by 25 to play with and put capacitors on to control the electrical noise. Well, on the Diamond, you cut the top off. On the Super B, you suck the sides in. Well, one of the easiest things to remove is capacitors. Well, now you've taken away its ability to deal with electrical noise. Why would Happy Model care? They're just going to put it on low kV motors that don't introduce a lot of noise to the system, and hey, there we go, all is well. And we actually saw them do that. Like, they were making a bunch of rigs with 26,000 kV motors for a while, and then all of a sudden they stopped and started putting 19,000 kV motors in a bunch of their rigs. And my guess is that it was because they were getting a lot of returns and a lot of people complaining. So, yeah, that's what I think is going on there. Put it on Bluejay 1.6, see if that helps. If that doesn't help it, realistically, nothing is. There's not enough capacitance. That is a physical problem. Cinewhoops are not a really good candidate for hanging a capacitor off. It's going to break off. And like, hanging an external capacitor is nowhere near as effective as onboard capacitance. So even hanging an external capacitor on it might not help enough. Regardless, you're not going to be able to get a good tune or a low amount of filtering for low latency. And you're just going to have a rig that doesn't fly all that well. So yeah, transfer. So you said HD0. So my recommendation is going to be to move that to either the Beta FPV cross style AIO, or I'm going to be trying very soon this Neutron RC F411 AIO. This AIO and the Beta FPV cross style do not have VTXs built in, which is what makes them pair really well with HD0 or Walksnail in my case, which is why I'm going to try one of these things out. But I already have one of the Beta FPV cross AIOs, and I can tell you that it does have enough capacitance on board for big high kV motors. So the Beta FPV is a known quantity. I've heard a couple good things about this Neutron board, so I'm going to give it a shot. But yeah, the Beta FPV is sort of the easy button. Okay, let's fix a Cinewhoop, and then we will do a little bit of flying here. I put it in the description. This fix is going to take longer and be more boring because it's going to be me removing a ton of motor screws, and it's just a frame swap. So I'm going to put this one on side. I'll do this on my time. What we will fix, though, is the warhorse of all, the warhorse to end all warhorses, my absolute most favorite rig, and I can put these aside now, too. I can put these are going to go on to a rig at some point here. Not sure which one yet, but one of these. So I'm going to put them in there. Yeah, man, this is the absolute champion of destruction and friendship. Champion of friendship. I don't know the rest of the lyrics. Ah! Who's singing it along with me? What other lunatics recognize those lyrics and know exactly what they're to. First person to put it in chat wins nothing. Ramdanko says, did you use the expensive dry cap? Do they weigh less? WeBleed. I don't even know what that is. Ramdanko, are you talking about dry electrolytic capacitors, perhaps? I have not tried them. My dad gave me a bunch of assorted capacitors. I just, on a Cinewhoop, it's just not good. I'm never going to put a capacitor on a Cinewhoop. It's just silly. So let's really get a look at the damage that I finally did to this canopy. So get you guys on the little bench cam here. So yeah, this took hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of crashes to do. These Mobula 6 canopies are outrageously durable, but eventually you can hurt them. And this one be hurting. This is like so many full throttle 32,000 kV slams, it's not even fucking funny. It's really... I have not been so impressed by a piece of FPV gear as I have with this in a long time. So yeah, there's the damage that was done, and it's fine. Like, I could leave this on and keep running it. It just looks like hell, and the camera is not holding its up tilt as well as it once was, which has more to do with this little back piece than the canopy. But yeah, I mean, it's just when there's something that's mangled like this, when you get into crashes, it's not gonna protect as well, right? So it kind of makes sense to pull it off. So we're just gonna replace. I don't have any more of those clear ones. At some point here, I'll do a Cinewhoop order. I was about to do a Cinewhoop order, and then because I was gonna snag another set of the 1.5 mil shaft 802s, but they just sold out on me. They were just in stock yesterday or the day before. I know I talked to a lot of people about them. I guess I talked to too many people about them, and they bought them all, so they're gone. But it's okay. They'll be back. They'll be back. Okay, I want to put a little piece of shrimp wrap on this antenna. This is how I prep antennas. One of my favorite things to do is put a little piece of shrimp wrap here between the UFL and the wire, just so that it, that little joint there is just crimped on right here. Oops. The little joint is just crimped on, and it can let go. So let me show you this little trick. You just take a little tiny bit of shrimp wrap, and I'm going to leave some of this out because I'm going to do this to others. I use a little piece of shrimp wrap that's a little bit too small here. It's too small to fit over the UFL. See that? But what nobody knows is that you can stretch shrimp wrap out. You have to get the official shrimp wrap in order for it to stretch. The stuff that's made from live shrimp. The shrink wrap, I don't know, might work. It might work, but I only buy genuine shrimp wrap. And yeah, if you get the good stuff made from the exoskeletons of only the finest live shrimp, you can just put it in your little needle nose pliers here and just stretch it out a little bit. And then what's nice is when you shrink it back up, it shrinks back up as if you never stretched it. And so now you'll see that it fits perfectly over there. And then I just put it right here. Just right in between this little joint. You want to make sure that you don't get it up over the connector because, it won't connect anymore. But you put it right here. And then you take your little lighter and you shrink it on up. And then your life becomes a little bit better because you'll potentially not ruin a $20 antenna from this little guy letting go. And that's it. And so now you've got an extra little bit of protection from your little arthropod. Shrimps are arthropods, aren't they? I think they are. Is the shrimp wrap thing still funny? Or is it played out now? Do people still... Is anybody confused right now? The other thing I'm going to do is just tighten up this little UFL. You just take your little needle nose and just... You'll see it. Look, use your little 5x magnifier. If you don't have one of these, get one. And just really carefully just clamp the little outer bits in. Just a little bit. Don't need to go overboard. But after you've plugged and unplugged these a whole bunch of times, the little gold bastards will just kind of loosen up a little bit, and then it can pop off. And so, yeah, real gentle. Just come in and just squeeze them inwards a little bit. Just work your way around, and that will keep it from popping off on you. You want to control when things pop off. You don't want things to pop off on their time. Know what I'm saying? All right, let's snap this back down. And then you'll be able to feel if you did it enough. If it takes a little bit of force to snap it on, that's what you want. You don't want it to like fall onto the UFL. That's no good. I do kind of want to switch this frame out too, because I beat the living balls out of this frame. But I don't have an extra clear frame, and I also don't feel like removing all the motors. So once I do that Cinewhoop order to get another one of the clear canopies, I'm going to snag another couple of these Meteor 65 clear frames. Freelojo's in the house. He likes shrimp wrap. It's better than snake jazz. Northern Tier says, have you tried the locking UFL? I have. Yeah, I actually don't like them. The locking UFLs from TuneRC are good in some scenarios. On these Cinewhoop boards, though, there are like components so close to the UFL that I'm not able to get this locking thing to work. So I just remove them, and the regular setup kind of works fine. But if you've got space around the UFL plug on the board, the little locking thing is really nice. I personally don't like it. Hey, Cinewhoop's in the house. What's up, Jesse? How are you, brother? Jesse, since you're here, any updates on a motor restock? Or we just looked and there were only 2 custom dyed Meteor 65 frames in stock. Any plans on doing some more dyeing in the future? Because I got some guys in chat that are just dying to buy some from you. What if I just ended the live stream on that? Hold on, I need to turn the text off on this one scene. Hold on. Here we go. Oh boy. Oh shit, motors are on the way, but I gotta admit I won't have time for dye for a couple weeks. That's okay. It's worth the wait. The hand dyed stuff is worth the wait. Guys, I don't think that you quite understand how absurdly busy Jesse is. Oh, hey Jesse, also any update on the if you can, if you have any more of the indestructible happy model regular old, you know, square shaped ELRS boards coming in? Do you have any more of these coming? WeBleed, same question for you. We need these. We need these. These are the good ones. These are the only Cinewhoop AIOs that are worth a shit, in my opinion. Who's got some coming? They're out of stock everywhere. Pyrodrone is the only place that has them. Who's gonna get them in first? Jesse says, are you talking about the CRF4? It is the AIO that comes in the regular old Mobula 6 ELRS. It doesn't really have a name. It just gets called the Happy Model F4 5 amp most of the time. It doesn't have like a fancy name. But yeah, this is the AIO that everybody wants that I talk to, because I tell them that this is the only one that's worth a shit. So yeah, who's gonna get it back in first? Not the cross. Somebody in chat just said that their cross blew up on like the 3rd battery, so that can go to hell. I'm such a jerk sometimes. Michael Miller says, how do I update an F3 board to Betaflight 4.1? I don't know if you can. I think the F3 processors maxed out. Don't quote me on that though. But the update if you can put a board onto 4.1 or 4.2 or 4.3, it's the same method. If you go as updating anything, if you go in there and it's not able to auto find your board, that means that there is no version of Betaflight for it, which means that in this case it means that F3 can't handle the truth. All the dad jokes today. Can't handle the newer, more complex operating system. Firmware, rather. All right. Let's get this canopy up in here, and we can fly this thing around a little bit. So we've got these 2 screws, which are for going through the canopy into the weird little back piece mount thing. So what I like to do is put these little guys through the canopy first. And then you can just kind of pinch the canopy to flex that little area outwards. And then that will allow you to put the camera with the little back piece onto the little sharp bits of the screws that have peeked through. And then you can screw the screws in. So you can usually get one right off the bat, but then the other one, usually you have to give the canopy a little pinch. I always recommend you do this with the camera not plugged in. I'm being stubborn, and it's probably going to take me longer to do it with the camera plugged in than if I were just to unplug it like a smart person. Or not, because I just managed to get it. And then be as gentle as you can, because they're going to want to pop out. Get a screwdriver on here and get some turns on these screws. I think I just felt the other one pop out. Sometimes you can nope, we're good. Sometimes you can start to screw one in and then jump over to the other one. And there we go. I don't know why I felt the need to talk you guys through that. It's pretty simple, but I don't know. Sometimes I have little tricks and tips that make your lives easier, so. There we go. All right, so it feels like this piece is actually not as stripped out as I thought it was, so we're good. Get your camera wires all bundled up here to shorten them up. Get your little TrueRC Singularity under the little upside-down ball sack that is the Module 6 canopy, and away we go. Now we can put the outside screws on, and our absolute warrior of a Cinewhoop is ready to go. Let me, I'm going to play a little bit more of the footage from Micro Mayhem for you, beautiful people, while I'm doing the rest of this, so that in case you missed it on Monday, you can check some of it out. Although, hold on, I got the wrong memory card in. Let's put this memory card in here, because the rest of this is just going to be me screwing screws in, which is pretty boring. So here we go. Gray 16 gig is the one, DCIM, and here we go. All right, so we left off here, but really quickly, let me just copy these to the jibby jabby wire. Just, oh god, why? Okay, so here it is. So I'm gonna just copy these real quick, get this just rolling in the background, and then okay, so here's where we left off from last time. And I'll just leave this roll so that you guys can see some of the Cinewhoop shenanigans from Micro Mayhem. And there you go. All right, cool. So this is all flown with this rig that I'm fixing right now. Pretty much all of the batteries that I flew in Micro Mayhem were with this rig, just because it flies so incredibly good. And like, it was cool, man. There was like this buzz around Rampage of like, yo, did you fucking see Ciotti up in Micro Mayhem? Jesus Christ. It was kind of cool. Like, I had a bunch of people come to me like, yo, so and so told me that you were just shredding at Micro Mayhem, and I'm like, yeah, man, Cinewhoop 0702 32,000s all day. Get you some. And then apparently everybody got themselves some because they're all sold out. But Jesse just said that they're on the way, which is incredible, and I'm very excited about. Because I actually only bought one set of these 32,000s. I should have bought more than one, but I wasn't sure if I would like them. So I just started with the one set. And then, you know, I did buy another set, but then I put them on one of those rigs that I sold, that I did the live auctions for. So yeah, I did actually buy a second set for myself, but in a moment of greed, decided to to do something else with them, which is okay. You know, you could be greedy sometimes. That's not true. It's not greed. It's just wanting to get these rigs into the hands of the people, yo. All right, so this is one of the older Mobula 6 canopies, which is only a three-hole mount. It doesn't use the front mounting hole, which is totally fine. Yeah, that power loop that I was just doing through that crazy gap, I never actually did get it. It wasn't all that impressive, so like I tried it a bunch of times, but I never really like sat there and nailed it down. It was cool. It would have been cool to get it, but there was lots of other stuff to do here that was much more impressive and much more fun, to be honest. Like this right here, this is one of my favorites, like a little Jacob's ladder setup, where you kind of Matty flip the one, power loop the other. That was that was the fucking heat right there. So yeah, that was like the final form of this move, where like you got the upper here, you either Matty flip or power loop that, and then and then do the opposite on the other one, but then do a power loop over the whole big thing. And I got a little bit lucky with that little dive there, but yeah, man, this is the greatest Cinewhoop spot to fly on Earth. I really. Like, please show me a spot that's better than this. I don't think you really ever will. This is just outrageous. This is absolutely outrageous. There are so many dive gaps, so many just so much to do. You could fly 1,000 batteries here and just barely scratch the surface of what's possible in there. There's just stuff everywhere, man. It's so cool. Next year, we're going to try to get even more light in here. We're going to a bunch of these rope string lights that you see got cut by 5-inch rigs, but we're really not going to focus on those anymore. We're just going to focus on these big bright lights that are shining the purple light that you can see in here, because yeah, it's just that's what makes this place more flyable and easier to kind of see where the hell you're going. All right, this rig is good to go. It is back up on its little feet. Let's test beat batteries versus fresh batteries. What do you say? Let me let the rest of this... there's like 5 more minutes of it. I'll just sit here and pick my nose while I watch. That's a good idea, right? Blop! Perfect. Perfect time to hop off of this. Which one is that? That is 45F. 45F. 44, so we can take the tag off of this one. And... oh, well, no, actually, hold on. These copied by now, didn't they? Okay, yeah, so remove the tag from that one, add the tag to this one, and then I can actually empty out... nope, not empty out this memory card. If you go back to Monday's live stream, you can see the 1,100-foot radio tower dive that I did with this quad, which will be an edit at some point here. So if you want to wait for it, you can. But if you want a sneak peek, I showed and talked through the whole thing. Yeah, full 300 mAh 1S battery, fresh 300 mAh 1S battery to get 1,100 feet up and then back down, and not quite make it back to myself. But that was, I would have made it back to myself if I hadn't have initially taken off and flown like 20 feet back to the car and then 20 feet back to myself. So technically speaking, on this rig, you can, yeah, dive an 1,100 foot tower. Athix says, how many 1S packs got ejected through the floor? I didn't see any, but lots of other shit fell through the floor. Athix says, I did Maddie the I-beam before you put the cube up. Nice. And then Ricardo says, can I replace my Whoop's linear antenna with an RX antenna? No. Receiver antennas are not the correct length for the 5.8 band wavelength that our video systems run off of. So here's what we're going to test in the dying moments of the live stream here. Basically fresh batteries versus beat batteries. I've got a brand new WeBleed FPV 300 mAh that has not even been cycled once. I've got a pretty much brand new Beta FPV 300 rolled cell that has been cycled a couple times but is still relatively fresh. And then I've got a Cinewhoop 300 mAh folded cell that's been cycled to death, at least 100 cycles. And then a Cinewhoop 270 just kind of thrown in for funsies that has been cycled pretty hard. When I say cycled pretty hard, what I mean is charged and flown, charged and flown, charged and flown, charged and flown. The more you charge and fly a battery, the higher the internal resistance gets, and the worse that battery is going to perform, all the way up until the point where you just don't want to be flying it anymore. That goggle battery is pretty much dead. This one is probably got enough life in it for a few quick batteries. So what I want you guys to look at, I'm going to leave the OSD on. What I want you to look at is the amps that it's willing to pull and the runtime, and just in general, like how much I'm bitching and moaning about it performing good or bad or whatever. And I'm going to kind of talk you through it. But yeah, while you're looking at the OSD, the amps it's pulling and the runtime are the two dead giveaways as to when a battery is kind of old and tired. But to be honest, you can really feel it. Like when you hammer the throttle, a fresh battery will just feel really good. Oh man, there are no gates in here. Okay. I took all the gates down and brought them with me. And most of them survived, not all of them. Let's do the 270 first. This has been cycled hard. The lower the MAH, the higher the internal resistance and the harder time the battery is going to have. So this is probably going to be the worst because it has been cycled quite a bit. And it is a lower MAH, but it is a gram lighter, so it flies really, really good. I'm going to leave the OSD on. And as soon as this thing connects, there it is. It'll pop up. This is a current generation RunCam Nano 3. This is basically just a Mobula 6 ELRS with a motor swap and BT 2.0. That's all. If you buy a Mobula 6 ELRS today, this is the camera, the canopy, and the AIO that you'll get. And those things kind of dominate the performance of the rig. All right, here we go. No gates to jump through, so I guess we'll just kind of smash it into the bookshelf and and all the other things, apparently. Come on. Get. Okay. What's happening? Is there a shitload of up tilt? There's a shitload of up tilt. See how there's no ducts in view on the bottom? That's how I can always tell that there's too much up tilt. I always want there to be a little bit of a little bit of duct in view. Is this, hold on, is this broken? No, this is fine. It's fine. Up tilt will drastically affect your ability to fly. If you have too much or too little up tilt, it's going to make things really challenging. Oh, I was about to say that's better. Ah! No! God damn it. I don't know. Sometimes I fly good. Sometimes I don't. Where is it? Where are you, Tiny Whoop? Where have you gone? Got it. It's because there's no gates. That's why I'm flying like ass. I need the gates as reference points. That's what it is. That's totally it. Ah! No, no! Why? Oh, God! What is happening? Let's go upstairs. It's more open upstairs. Oh, God, I can't even make it up the stairs! Got it. Here we go. Mega power loop. Oh, wow. Yeah, no, I'm my brain is broken. I'm not flying well. So, this is the 270 mAh battery, which is a little bit lighter, which I can definitely feel. Like, these batteries are so cool. On these 32,000 kV motors, they definitely do sag a little bit more than the 300 mAh batteries, which is offset by the weight savings. So like it doesn't fly better per se, it just flies different. It feels lighter, but it has less power essentially. So there you go. There were a couple big full throttle blasts for you if you're kind of checking on the amps. See, so now in the battery's life, it feels really saggy. The number is coming down pretty low. The voltage, rather, is coming down pretty low. But yeah, you really feel it with these 270 mAh batteries when the sagginess. Tried to do the mega desk power loop. Oh! Almost. All right, so there's the 270, 2 minutes, 23 seconds, end battery 306. It's bouncing back up to 3.4. I ran that pretty low. 3.38, 3.37. Yeah, it's going down. Yikes. Come on. I'm going to get that on the charger. I over-discharged that a little bit. So now we're going to try a fairly beaten to death Tiny Whoop folded cell 300. So this is probably going to give us a little bit better performance, but it's going to give us a little bit more runtime. I mean, we'll see. It depends on how hard this has been cycled. This has been cycled way more times than the 270. Hold on. Just for the sake of argument, let me make sure everything is correct in here. Yeah, no, we're good. Okay, it's just me flying like a donkey. Come on. There we go. No, no, no. Let's get it. No, 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 actually, we spent... Oh! Face first into the coffee table. What I was about to say is we spent a bunch of time down here before we went upstairs on the 270. So let's do that again on this one. Oh boy. That was the tightest power loop ever, and then it bounced right back up over the table. That was kind of wild. really hard to finish that power loop. All right, so that's about the amount of time that we spent down here on the 270. Let's go upstairs, do a couple big full throttle moves. Here we go. Mega power loop. Into a wall ride. And then a little bit of kitchen avoidance to make sure that we don't get it soaking wet. Ooh, yeah, get you some. Come on now. We are stringing some stuff together tonight. Ah! No! Oh, it's right above my head. It's in the kitchen. Chip, 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 chip. Whoa! Do you know about that? That was a close one. Oh boy. Stairs trying to get me. So, I've spent like twice the amount of time upstairs. Ooh. It's kind of fun to fly around here without the gates, I gotta be honest. It makes me use like the environment. Which is fun in its own. I think it's fun for me because it's different. You know, I'm used to having the gates up. But yeah, as you can see, we're already getting more runtime, and we're only at 3.4. Playing some drums, you know, as you do. Ah! Cut that a little too tight. What other environment tricks do we got? More wall ride action. Ooh, that's in the blanket. That's probably not coming out. Ooh, shit. Okay. 2 minutes and 42. I will lazily limp it back home. I should stop over discharge. But see, look how high it's bouncing back. It's bouncing all the way back to 3.52. So 2 minutes 46, 352, max current 8 amps. That's only from the most recent time that I disarmed it. So yeah. Now we are going to move to a fresh WeBleed FPV battery. Absolutely brand new. First time it's being charged and discharged. And then the last one is going to be a Beta FPV rolled cell 300. But I want to really show you the difference between fresh batteries. I mean, the battery I just flew is like real beat, for the record. Like real beat. Jesus. Ooh. This is just ridiculous. Like, the amount of... Ooh! The amount of pop that you get from these... See, like that really violent wall ride right there? That's a... Only a fresh battery will do that. Ah! Up into the ceiling we go. Try to get one of these power loops nailed here. That ground effect is brutal when I'm going under the coffee table because it's so low. Ah! Close. I'm inside the coffee table right now. There we go. Hey! Almost 2 in a row. Ah, a little late on that one. What's that on the ground? What did I just see? Is that just like lint? Or is that something from the quad? It's just lint. Let's blow it around. Wait, what if I go turtle mode? I can suck it in. Don't do that. Alright, let's go upstairs. Fresh battery upstairs. Here we go. Oh! So there it is. I mean, like, that was the same timing on the throttle blip. But, just so much more hang time. Oh, no, no, no. Don't you get under there. Don't you make me walk up these stairs. Ooh. Ooh, now that's a save. I don't usually save those. Okay. Big crash on that one. Yeah, like, the difference between these fresh batteries is really incredible. It just opens up a whole other world of, like, three-dimensional momentum-based flying. Which you guys know that I just love. Oh, shit. I could have recovered that. I don't know what I was doing. The hell? What's it? Is it stuck under the door a little bit? Stop it. Get out of there. Okay. There we go. That'll get it out. Oh, God, this battery's getting low. Oh, God. What not to do the first time you cycle a battery. How not to treat it. I'm just going to take the walk. Oh, my God. It bounced all the way into the room. And now the fat sharks are going ham. So there you go. 2 minutes and 57 seconds. But, man, I was a lot harder on it this time. Did you guys notice any differences in total amp draw? I cannot believe. Oh, for Christ's sakes. Fat Shark, come on. Now, just real quick, we're going to do a Beta FPV rolled cell 300. Still BT 2.0, which is great. But yeah, this is a rolled cell battery now. Okay, and my Fat Sharks have decided to take a shit on me. There we go. Now they're back. But now the left screen is flickering. Why is that happening? Why is the left screen flickering? These HC3s have been through hell and back, man. It's pretty impressive that they work at all anymore. Why is the left screen flickering like that? What the hell? Hold on. That's super annoying. It's not in 3D mode. Yeah, I don't know. That's weird. The left screen is flickering. I'm just going to try to fly through it. Oh. So this is now a rolled cell battery, and I can immediately tell the hover point is way higher. Oh my God, not to mention the battery sag. What the fuck? Yeah, this battery feels like ass. Yeah, this sucks. BT 2.0 is great and all, but man, folded cell is just as important. Oh, it just got me there in the corner. Oh, God, that fan tried to eat me. Oh, the couch is going to eat me and not let me go, isn't it? Oh, no. No, no, no. Not like this. Not like this. Not like this. Not like this. Let me go. Let me go. Someone's going to help me. Yay! Thank you! Oh, Duke hates it. Duke, go eat it. Oh, he tried to get it. Duke is a quad hater. Duke is like that Karen that calls the cops on you for flying your Mavic. Alright, let's discharge this battery down the rest of the way. Oh, God. Come on. Just gonna hammer this thing for the rest of its little life. Oh, God, why? I don't know why I thought that would work. Oh, shit, that actually desynced. That was weird. Oh. Oh. Ooh. Hold on. That's an interesting little throw. Kind of digging this fly without gates thing. It's making me use some other jibby jabbies here. Ah! Oh, okay. This is fun. I'm down. Ah! No, no, no. Easy. Let me go. Leave me. Ah! That's cool. Trying to drop it into the little small gap between the coffee table and the couch. Low battery. Plop. Oh shit! I hit the screen on my transmitter. I always try to not do that. I already broke it once doing that. So there you go. Bouncing back up to 3.6. 2 minutes 27. I could probably fly it longer, but it just flies like ass. I'm not really interested in flying it anymore. So there you go, friends. Did that left screen stop flickering? Maybe? I don't know. If these fat sharks are on their way out, they deserve it. I can't. These have probably flown 10,000 batteries over the last 7 years. And I do have another set of them, but I'm sure they'll live on forever. OMFPV says, any thoughts on the TuneRC F405 20 amp, considering it for a 2S open prop, tiny lifter, 2.5, 3-inch props? I don't know anything about it, to be honest, 20 amps, though, is absolutely plenty for that. That's what I can tell you, but I don't know anything about that particular AIO. Off-Axis says you should make a video of you hitting things that make sounds like the drums and make it into a music video. That'd be cool. Grant R says, this week's I got challenges. Orbits, any pointers? Struggling keeping my attitude steady and my orbit locked in with my 75mm rig. So I've said that we're gonna walk right along with iGao, and I was not lying. We're gonna do it right now. So orbits are all about, to be honest, stick time. Orbits are very difficult because you have to manage all 4 axes all at once. You have to manage your throttle to keep control of your elevation, but your elevation is also going to be controlled by how much tilt you have on. The more tilt you have, the faster the orbit, the more throttle you're going to have to use to offset that. Your roll and yaw are fairly straightforward because you're just coordinating them. You're just adding basically the same amount of roll as you are yaw. One of the things that can help, and one of the reasons that I match my rates up, is if you use the same rates on roll and yaw. That can make your job a little bit easier, unless you've had them offset for a long time. Then you should stick with what you already know. But if you're playing around with rates anyway, match up your roll and your yaw rates, and that could potentially make it a little bit easier. I'm gonna try to give you guys a little bit of a half-ass stick overlay here. I'm gonna go Stevie Wonder on you, and we're just gonna do some orbits. Does that work? That works. Okay, so I'm gonna go do a bunch of orbits, and I'm just gonna tell you when I'm in the orbit. Come on. Come on.
Welcome to OpenTX.
Alright. So, here you guys go. Oh, fucking asshole. Come on now. I don't know why it won't link up, but I do know that the sound, the fat shark beep makes me want to scream, and they just shut off. That's great. I don't know why they shut off, but you know, here we are. Nope, that screen's still flickering. This battery is hurting. So I'm gonna come over here and I'm just gonna kind of orbit the coffee table. No, this is hard to do. All right, I'll orbit the computer. So this is the best I can do for stick overlay. So you're gonna keep your. I'm not doing a very good job of orbiting this, but you're going to keep your roll and yaw. So I'm doing this to kind of show you that you're coordinating roll and yaw. So if for some reason during the orbit you need to add more yaw, you're going to also add more roll. Alright, so that's the stick coordination part. That's the roll and the yaw. But also with a good orbit, you're going to be managing pitch. The more you pitch forward, the faster the orbit is going to be, and the closer you're going to get to the object. And then your throttle is going to constantly kind of move. Your throttle almost coordinates with your pitch. There are going to be points where you're pitching down, though. Right, because we're acro. Now I'm going to give you guys this. Because we're in acro mode, once you get the pitch about right, you can kind of leave it alone. So I'm going to try to orbit this pillow that's on the top here, right? The other thing is that you want the object that you're orbiting to be on the left side of the screen where the pillow is right now if you're doing it to the left, or on the right side if you're doing orbits to the right, because all you're really doing is flying past the object and then turning, and then flying past it and turning, and then flying past it and then turning, and you just keep doing that. So you're just constantly flying past the object and turning to stay with it. So if you put that object on the left side of the screen, you have to angle like this, because you're no longer flying past the object. And it makes it a lot easier, and it looks a lot better to put the object on the inside of the orbit there. That's something that a lot of people get wrong. So yeah, there's a couple of tips for you. I'm going to do one more. Where the hell did the quad go? There it is. I'm going to do one more, and I'm going to speed the orbits up so that you get to see what they look like as the speed increases. And yeah, so the other reason that you want to put the object on the inside of the orbit is so that you can level the horizon. Orbits look best when the horizon is flat, and the only way to do that is to put the object on the inner third of your viewfinder. If you put the object on the other side or in the middle, you're going to have to break the horizon line, and they just don't look as good that way. So let me give you an example of that. I'll put the object dead center. So if I just put it dead center and I keep the horizon straight, the orbit's just going to stop. You see that? So I can like generate a little bit of momentum, but then you're going to lose that momentum and the orbit is just going to stop. So if you're going to put the object in the center, the only way to keep it going is to break the horizon line. And you see how I'm now leaning over a little bit? It's not as drastic as if I put the object all the way on the left side of the screen. But yeah, it's still there. I'm sorry, I meant to say on the right side of the screen because I'm doing it to the left. With orbits, you always want to do them one way and then the other way so that you don't become one-sided. And so now let's get the orbits sped up here. So we're going to pitch forward a little bit, and we're also going to be needing to add more roll and yaw. And as you speed them up, they're going to naturally become more oblong. That's just sort of a part of the game. If you do them for long enough, you'll get really good at them, and you'll be able to do them really fast. I think those are about all the tips that I can that I've got on orbits. Orbits are something that you should do a lot because they are really hard work, and they will really help you to learn to coordinate your sticks. In every direction, roll and yaw, pitch and throttle. And it's just one of these things that's like really hard to do, and you want to do those hard things as often as you can, because that's kind of your swinging with a weighted bat practice. Do them with different proximities to the objects and different speeds. Usually the speed that you orbit will control how quick how close you are to the object. But there is a little bit of leeway there. I can't stand the fucking fat shark beeping anymore. I'm out. Oh god, I forgot to disarm it. I'm out. I can't do it. I can't listen to the goddamn fat shark beep one more beep. So yeah, there you guys go. There's some, hopefully that helps out a little bit with this week's iGo challenge. I think it's too late to, this is me flying line of sight. Let's see how this goes. Oh God, not well. Wait, no, I'll fly it through the live stream. Oh, that latency. Oh! Oh! Wow. Wow, it's so difficult to do this. Oh my God, there's like a half a second of latency. Oh God, oh God. Oh boy. Okay. 3.5. Hey, this battery is good to go. Cool. There you have it, friends. Hopefully that helped. Yeah, like I said, orbits are an amazing, like when I work with people one-on-one on Fiverr for flight instruction, orbits are one of the things that I make everybody work on. That's like a drill that everybody gets assigned by the end of the lesson from me, because it's just a brilliant way to get better at flying, and it's really challenging. And it really works all 4 axes and forces you to really mix them in your brain. And yeah, no matter how good you are, your orbits can always take a little bit more work. So Grand R says, thanks so much. Give it a go tonight. Sounds good. Thanks for hanging, friends. My name's Aaron Ciotti. Everybody calls me Ciotti. Head on over to CiottiFPV.com to support me. I'm completely crowdfunded from you beautiful people. This way, when I review something, it is completely honest, because I don't have any sponsor that's sending me stuff for free or anything like that. Ethan W says, how much throttle do you need to hover your 32,000 kV rig? I was just flying it a bunch. And I have throttle in my OSD on the side here, so you can take a look for yourself. Have an awesome day, my friends. Show me some love over on the website, and I'll keep doing this forever. Thanks for hanging out. Here comes some flying. I'll play the rest of the Micro Mayhem from earlier with a little bit of Epidemic sound on top. Hopefully it's a good song. Slow Royale, that sounds like a winner. See you Friday, friends. I love you. Goodbye.